All right, hello world. Welcome back to Golf Subpar with Colt Knost and Drew Stoltz. We'll get to the PGA Tour in a second, but first, Sleaze, another member guest in the books. Your team played much better than mine. Congratulations on winning your flight with your brother Jeff. But man,
Big win.
A time was had.
A time was had. I love member guests. There's the best form of golf. You go out there, you get to compete a little bit, try to play good golf. Not the end of the world if you don't, but it's music all day, drinking, good food typically, hang afterwards, some cards. It's a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And my boy Jeff, shout out to my brother Jeff for showing up. Came in with like a 12-ish type handicap or something around there. You get like 80% of it, I think, in the flight. My man put together a little 40-41 in the morning matches, the first 18 with 2 X's, 2 dubs, basically. So a lot of pars and a lot of pars.
Get him, Jeff.
For birds out there. Shout out, Jeff. Way to show up.
Do you want me to take you through my adventure?
Let's hear. I heard Lammy didn't quite have it. He's not a desert guy, by the way.
Future guest of Golf Subpar, poker player Ben Lamb came down and joined me. He's kind enough to always bring me to his up at Southern Highlands in Las Vegas. We have a great time. We've almost won it a couple times. This week, much different story. We were the last team in the first flight. We were the underdogs, no doubt about it, but you got to take advantage of your strokes, right? Well, my man showed up very prepared. Coming out of Cabo, where he was down there playing some golf, texted me, he goes, never hit it better in my life. I'm striping it right now, ready to get going.
Don't worry about anything.
Well, boy, did that backfire. He showed up to Whisper with no golf balls, had to go charge some to the account on the inside.
That can happen.
The next day, he quickly proceeded to lose those in a day, so we had to go reload. The next day, in our first 9-hole match, he hit 7 provisionals. Pretty good.
Not on the par threes, though.
I guess
hit it dead straight on the par threes.
I guess he was really worried about me making double with pitching wedge in my hand.
Yeah, legitimate concern.
Whatever. Also, before the second day, we had a long 27 holes on Friday. Got amongst it that night. Next day, I see him come out of the pro shop, brand new pair of shoes. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I didn't want to walk up the stairs to your locker.
Also understandable.
Just 14
it's got to be
steps.
12, 14 steps to get all the way up there. I think you actually have to walk further to take a leak than you do if you just go straight upstairs.
So,
But-
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Rather,
Left
we
it on the
did
field.
have a lot of fun, a lot of time, a lot of shit was talked. And then to cap it all off, just to end the member guest, once again, rather good time on Saturday. Sunday, wake up. Sunday's day of rest.
It's the Sabbath.
Okay? We had 2 golf tournaments on. We had NCAA March Madness. There was no reason to leave the house. Well, my car was at Isabella's, our local spot, because you don't drink and drive. That's a rule.
Responsibly. We do everything responsibly.
We gamble responsibly. We drink responsibly. So my wonderful wife, Natalie, drove Ben to get my car because his travel bag and some other stuff was in there. Ben drives the car home. Very nice. While I'm sitting there, hug you, love you, see you later. Sends you back to Vegas. Lands in Vegas. Hey, bud, we got a problem. I'm like, what? He goes, just brought your keys to Las Vegas with me.
You don't need that whip, do you?
No.
You're not a big driver.
I was like, he's
the
like, you got a
car.
spare set? I'm like, could not begin to tell you. I have moved since I got a new car. There's no telling where my spare keys are. He's like, I'll overnight them to you. But everything's closed Sunday, so they'll get there Tuesday.
In the meantime, do you not hotwire a vehicle by chance? Go back to your old car theft days.
That basically sums up our member guest.
Yeah.
We
that
didn't
was
finish
good.
last.
Second to last. Not off the bottom.
Our wonderful
No
president.
one remembers second to last.
Our wonderful president here at 8 a.m., Hoyt McGarrity, took home that title.
Okay,
So at least
shout
we got
out
him.
Hoyt. Somebody's got to have it. It's like shooting 79 versus 80. Everyone will remember an 80 for forever. 79, just wipe
even
that
forget
off.
about it.
Doesn't even matter. We had a hell of a time, though. Do you have the stats on the booze consumption? We went over it today on the radio.
So
we're doing a new fun thing at Whisperock where they keep track of everything that's consumed. Food, whether it's bacon, sausage. I think we had pork tenderloin, and then they also get into the booze. How many bottles of certain booze were consumed, and it was record setting.
I remember the numbers from what you said. I remember for breakfast there was 130 pounds of bacon consumed,
It's a good amount.
200 pounds of beef in the afternoon.
Solid.
By the way, I didn't have any of that. Shout out to
I
me.
contributed 0 to the beef.
Yep.
Bacon,
but
I
the
hit
more
hard.
impressive thing, 2 days, 94 bottles of vodka,
Correct.
68 bottles of tequila.
Yeah.
I did contribute to that.
The vodka, we may have had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we played
mem-
so good.
it's
what
member
you do.
guest.
What
That's what
else
you
are you
do.
going to do? Not leave it on the field?
Hey, they make you pay for that member guest. You got to get it back somehow.
Exactly. I'm coming out on top of
Yes.
this thing. I can guarantee your ass. You lose money when the Stoltzes enter the field. You're losing money on the
Next
entry
year,
fee.
Trias is going to be charging us for booze and the member guest.
We actually kept track of everyone's. Your entry fee is a little different than
Yeah.
these guys over here. You
That's
eat too
good.
much bacon and too much booze.
All right, well, on to the other golf.
They
that
played
happened
a
this past
tournament.
week. Down at Austin Country Club, Dell Match Play, the last one as of right now. But Sam Burns is your winner. Obviously found something at Valspar the week before, carried it over to the Match Play. I mean, what a week it was. Big names advancing. Our final four guys, Sam Burns, Cam Young, Rory McIlroy, and Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
And it looked like,
dude,
both guys were 2-up at one point in the semifinals. It looked like we were about to have a Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler showdown.
I was going to be in a real dilemma. It was a dilemma anyways on what to watch if you don't have multiple televisions. But I was like, did we get Scotty and Rory in this final? Like, that's the showdown fans have been waiting for. I thought, there's no more match play as of now for next year on the PGA Tour. I was like, dude, if Rory and Scotty make this finals and they have a match that goes 18 holes, and then you come out and say no more of this.
That's it.
I was like, dude, they hit a home. They got so lucky in the fact that match didn't shake out. That ended up being the consolation match. I put no stock in that. I think they would have chopped the pot before they teed off and said, cool, see you next time. But I mean, Sam Burns deserves it. He went out there and played incredible. That's the risk you run with a match
7-0.
I mean, dude, he just and that's last match. What he birdied 6 of his final 8, like to close the thing out. I mean, he was just making everything, hitting it perfect. You run that risk of that championship match not being great, but you were also this close to getting, arguably, I would say, the best final you've ever had in the history of this thing. And then you say, oh, we're not having it anymore. Could have been problems. But I still thought it was awesome, dude. 5 of the top 6 seeds advanced out of the pool play. Rahm being the only one that didn't. He was the only thing missing in that deal. But I like the match play. I hope they find a way. It's just a nice change up from the everyday stroke play competition. I think the players like it. It's way more personal in match play than stroke play. I hope they find a way going forward, whether it's tour championship or something, to have, it's got to be the best guys. It can't be, a non-designated type field to attract interest, but I hope they find a way to get it on the schedule.
I like it. I like Austin Country Club. I think the holes around the Lake Austin are beautiful. A lot of excitement with the drivable holes, the par 5s. A lot of stuff can happen. But at the end of the day, Sam Burns put on a clinic, beating Cam Young 6-5. By the way, nice first week for Paul Tesori with Cam Young.
Yeah, pretty easy, isn't it? Hit it at see that little thing with the flag on it? Hit it right at that.
He's good at golf,
and then when he gets going, like he was going in those last 2 matches, let's call it, damn, he's tough. I mean, we might not see it as consistently as some of the other guys, but his good is really damn good. Up to 10th in the world now, and I feel like he goes under the radar way more than a lot of guys who have fewer than 5 wins on tour.
And also, shout out to my man, my trusty spotter, Parker, who's out there.
Who's in the ER.
He also works for NBC when CBS doesn't have it. Got some nice TV time. Took one in the shoulder from Sam Burns yesterday on the par 5 12th, and then got some great TV time with the Get Amongst advisor on. That's my guy.
God bless you, Pete. Started to get a lot of messages all of a sudden, like, who is this guy? Who do you know this guy? Check this dude out. I was like, that's
great for the brand.
It got lucky, too. It clipped him in the shoulder. That hits the face. That's a huge problem. And it ended up bouncing weird and then hitting a pole and coming back. I was like, if you knock 30 yards off his drive and he has to take relief, you're going to get some unwanted attention. But it turned out perfect. He was amongst it per usual.
That's what he does.
That's what he does.
By the way, 22 years of doing the job, first time he's ever gotten hit.
Pretty damn good. And you can't see shit on that hole.
Made a nice run.
He's 40 yards below the tee box, and they're hitting it, by the way, 3 whatever on the fly. They were hitting bombs. Sam Burns got it up to 187.
Cam Young, 192 ball speed.
Cam Young hits rockets.
God damn.
Rockets. He is this close to starting to win a bunch of stuff. 10 top 3s now. Got a dub. Coming.
6 runner-ups, something like that.
You've
7
been there.
runner-ups?
Feels like all the time. And the harder the golf course, I feel like the better for him. His stuff is nice.
All right. Well, our guest this week, speaking of nice, I love this man. I'm a huge fan. I think he's one of the best analysts in the business. He does incredible work for ESPN, and he's a huge golfer. Just went on an epic trip down to Streamsong. Sent some videos of this putting contest they had in the lobby of the hotel that got incredibly weird.
They fire.
It was great. But Dan Orlovsky,
he's
former
awesome.
NFL quarterback, man. I love him. He does such, like I said, I consider Charles Barkley the greatest sports broadcaster we have. I love his style, his humor. He speaks to everyone. Dan Orlovsky is unbelievable at breaking down things that I don't think the average football fan would see, and he makes it where you can understand everything he says.
Yeah, and he's very easy guy to like because he's very self-deprecating. Has no problem taking shots at himself, which I think is somewhat rare in the media world. A lot of people pretty proud, want to protect themselves. He's got no issue. He just came out and said he uses the same towel in his shower 30 straight days before it changed.
It's disgusting.
Little
Dan.
suspect. That's
Dan.
like college dorm shit when you're doing your laundry for the first time. Like, oh, it's crusty. That'll be fine.
He also calls his wife a maniac on this show and talks about her poop schedule on Pat McAfee.
When you got a relationship with the old lady where you could go on national TV and talk about her poop schedule, that's love.
That is.
That is serious love.
All right, well, before we get to Dan Orlovsky, we want to welcome Rhoback to Golf Subpar. These clothes are absolutely incredible. I'm a big hoodie guy. There might not be a better hoodie on the market. These things are soft, comfortable, love them.
Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff. The performance polos, good fit, great feel. Very important when you wear your shirts a lot. The collars never lose their shape. You don't have that little bacon collar. Looks like it's been washed 100 times. The hoodies, as you mentioned. Quarter zips, too. Quarter zips are hot in the street. The Manning brothers every single week. Rhobacks everywhere, and there's a reason for it. They're awesome.
All right, go get yours at rhoback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. Use code SUB, S-U-B, for a generous 20% off your first order. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all polos, hoodies, and Q-zips with the code SUB. Make sure to check out their print polos. They will have you feeling good all year round. All right, here's Dan Orlovsky on Golf Subpar.
Okay, folks, big time guest on the program here today. Former NFL quarterback turned ESPN analyst, broadcaster. You see him on NFL Live. First Take, he's everywhere, dropping the hottest takes in the biz. Dan Orlovsky, good to have you, bud.
I'm fired up to be with you guys. Colt, I'm actually texting you videos from the putts that we experienced the other night at Stream Song. So I forgot to send them to you, so I'm doing so now. But great to be with you guys. I'm fired up.
Man, this is awesome. You know, I'm a huge fan. I reached out to you on Twitter and was like, I love watching your stuff. You're all over. I mean, you might work more than I do, which is crazy to say. I think you work about 18 hours a day, it seems like. Are you ever not talking about football?
Nah, dude. You know, like two things. So first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. I texted you back, like massive fan as well. One, you won me fantasy one year, probably 4 years ago, something like that. And I think you do a great job on TV. So, but one, like I live in Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. I always tell people like the great thing about ESPN is it's 24/7. The bad thing about ESPN is it's 24/7. So if you live close, they'll find moments for you to work. And then like one of the things that has stood out the most getting into TV, and I never knew it as a player or paid attention to it, was like how much of the calendar the NFL owns. You know, like they've done a business model wise, season gets done middle of February. Then there's like a week of quiet or like somewhat quiet. And then it's, well, we got to get ready for the NFL Combine first week of March. And then there's like a couple days of not a ton going on. And then it's what we're in this week, the NFL free agency. And then that carries for like 2 weeks. And then, you know, there's a couple days of quiet early April. And then it's the NFL draft for the whole month of April. And then there's OTAs and mini camps. So it's football nonstop in this country, man.
But you're one of those guys, I mean, you genuinely love it. Like,
I love it.
Some people consider it work. Like, even for me, for golf, I know Sleaze is probably the same way. Like, with golf, it's not work. Like, it's what I love to do. I love to watch it. I consume it at all hours of the day. So it's really not work. You really, really do enjoy it. And I think it comes across on the TV.
No, I appreciate it. I do. I love it. I love, one, like my nature, my personality has always been argumentative and a little bit probably too much like a know-it-all. So like some of the shows that I get to be on, that's a perfect fit. I've always been a nerd, you know, with football. Like I've always been kind of like an intellectual person. I was never physically that talented. So like finding stuff or whatnot and tape is something that I love to do. So I love it. I'm super passionate about it. I have a great time doing it. So it's way better it's all I know too. I've never not done football. So to get paid for it is ridiculous to me.
What do you like doing the best? Like you got your NFL Live, that's kind of like X's and O's, breaking down players, things like that. You got First Take, where you get up there and just hot take, debate, that type of stuff, or broadcasting, calling the games. Do you have one that you look forward to more than the others?
It depends. So like, I love them all, to be honest with you, because we get asked that question all the time by like executives. What's your end goal? Or what do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? And I always say like, I love it all. If you get a good live game, it's nails. Like there's nothing that beats a good live game. And really like in college football, if you get the right scene, right setting and get a great game, it's tough to beat. Now that doesn't happen a ton in college football though. There's like the college football parity is just so big. I often get like 40 to 6 games. So those aren't a blast, but you know, I called like the Fiesta Bowl 2 years ago, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State. It was awesome. So if you get a good college football game or a good NFL game, you know, this past year we had the Chiefs week 18 trying to secure the number 1 seed. They go on to win the Super Bowl. So like those are great. First Take is a blast because, Stephen A called me 2 years ago. I was like, I want to give you Thursdays, like Thursdays is going to be your day. And I think the thing that like gave me so much joy in doing Thursdays with Stephen A is he's so go be yourself. He's not focused on like having this intense, I've got to be right moment. He just wants to have fun talking football and arguing about sports in general. So I love doing First Take. I love doing Get Up because it kind of like was where I got started, and they've given me a lot of creative freedom. NFL Live is my favorite when it comes to the consistent, like I'm with people who I love. Those people are like family to me. And that's where I'm like my most nerd is NFL Live. So I love doing it all.
I mean, you work with some incredible personalities. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith. I wake up every morning. I have my coffee out here on the West Coast. That's what I wake up to is Stephen A. yelling, which is really enjoyable and gets me going for my day. But I want to know about Ryan Clark because y'all's relationship seems unbelievable. When y'all break down the film, I love that.
So RC's my guy. So I played against RC like a little bit in the NFL, but I didn't know about it or didn't know him personally, right? Great story is, I think 3 or 4 years ago, it was the Super Bowl, I believe in Tampa. It was the Tampa versus Kansas City Super Bowl, right? So that was like our first year working together, Ryan and I. And we were doing a segment or something. And in this segment, I kind of like, he said something to me and I kind of pretended to like step to him, so to speak. And like not throw hands, but like throw hands. You know what I'm saying? Like I stepped to him, like, I like confrontationally, and on television, he handled it fine. And I walk off the set to go to another set, and he came up to me face to face. This was like, again, I don't know him that well in this moment. He's like, "Hey, bro, don't you ever effing do that to me on television again. I'll knock you the F out. I'm not that dude." And in that moment, I was like, got it. And that was like a moment where it like sent our friendship to a different level because, like the way he just straight up like confronted me about it. I was like, this dude don't mess around. So, and the breaking down stuff on TV was actually his idea one time. He was like, it would be so cool if we did it live together. And we did like your perspective, my perspective. We did it once and it went from there. And you should see us in commercial break. Like we're jumping up and down. We're getting like hyped up for it. We're walking around because it's so much energy for that. We love it.
That's perfect because I want to go to another show. We'll go to First Take for a minute, right? Because that's kind of the soul of that show is like debate, like healthy debate. You have one side, you have one side. And they get tense. Like there's a lot of tense moments on that. Sometimes I'm watching, like I think they're genuinely pissed at each other. What are like the commercial breaks like? Are there ever some awkward moments after one of those ends and you're just both kind of sitting there like, oh my God, like that got weird?
Yeah, I mean, awkward is it's probably like on the surface level can be viewed as awkward. But like those are like the show can carry over into a commercial break and into argument so often that it never like the moment never becomes overwhelmingly awkward. I'll never forget like one of the first times I did First Take. We were in commercial break and I was sitting there talking to Stephen A about whatever. Like you guys, we're talking right now about I forget what the topic was. And all of a sudden, like when you're on set, someone yells, you guys know this live TV. It's like 15 seconds till we're live. And Stephen A's like, what's the topic? And someone said it. I don't know what the topic was. Cowboys quarterback or something. And all of a sudden, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 live television comes on. And he goes from like this casual conversation to he went into performance. Like it was live TV. Here I go. I'm Stephen A. This is First Take. And I think that's like empowering when you see him do that because you understand like that's part of that show. It is. It's just, and he takes a ton of pride in it, but it's not fake. It's just who he is in that moment. But like he's not overly sensitive. He's never going to get defensive about stuff. He just literally wants to chop it up and argue and disagree and have entertaining sports conversations. So I think like overall it could be viewed as awkward, but it's never personal.
I love that.
Can I ask one follow-up on that real quick? So clear the air for everyone out there because there's a lot of people that think this. Is it ever a case before the show where you guys go on and you're talking, let's say it's Cowboys quarterback, and you're like, okay, you take this side and I'll take this side, even if you don't believe what you're saying? Do you ever have to like just argue one side so there is a debate because it's better than if you both agree?
No. So I'll kind of fill you guys in a little bit of like peel back the curtain on that. What happens is usually 99 out of 100 times you'll get an email the night before with like 50 questions on it, that can be questions that, depending upon the answer, can spur debates, and you throw out your answers. They don't give you the other person's answer. Like when I get the email, I don't have Stephen A's answer on it, so I'm more inclined to disagree with him. And then the next morning at like 7 or 8 in the morning, we'll get an email, or maybe we're in the meeting ourselves of like what the topic's going to be. But we're never forced to say, hey, Stephen A took this side, so you have to take that side. The producers do a really good job of like, but we're also smart. We also know that there are some conversations that are going to be more entertaining than others. But I've never gone on there and said something I don't believe. I've said crazy stuff, but it's not because I don't believe it.
All right. Well,
all right, that's good.
Let's just get to it. We're going to get to some golf, but you're the best in the business with NFL. We got to talk about it. And it's already been said twice. Cowboys quarterback. I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, Dan. Just let me have it, man. Like, what do we got to do? I mean, it kills me every single year.
Max Duggan.
I didn't.
Stop it. Stop it.
Get Max.
Stop it.
Max will turn that ship around, dude.
I might use that on NFL Live today.
Please
dude,
do.
I think Dak's a good player. Cole, I said this after the San Francisco loss this year. We live in a reality where everybody wants the player to be the person. You know, Dak Prescott is A plus 10 out of 10 person. He's a tremendous human. I don't know him, but everyone who talks about him says that. But he's not a 10 out of 10 player. He's a good player, and everybody wants him to be that incredible top 5 quarterback type of player. He's just not that guy. So, like, the only way to win in the NFL with that guy is to make sure that your roster is so good around him that he gets propped up rather than him propping other guys up. There's only a handful of guys in the world that do that. So, like, I think they're good. I think he's good. I just don't think he's going to consistently be great.
So we're going to continue to be disappointed year after year is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, what's the expectation level, right?
God.
Yeah.
Unless
it kills me. Well,
Unless
the
you
other
man
problem
down the
is
road in Fort Worth.
the other problem is I am a huge Sean Payton fan, and Sleaze is a Bronco fan, and they stole him. I was kind of sneaky hoping we would suck this last year so we'd get Sean Payton, and that totally backfired.
And watch what he does with Russell this year. They even signed 2
God.
offensive linemen already in free agency. So, like, Russell will play so much better with Sean, and I think the world of Sean Payton. So, yeah. Dude, it's so funny because, like, we talk about the Cowboys all the time, and everyone's like, my wife's from Philly, so my wife hates it. She's like, oh, you guys don't talk about the Cowboys. And I'm like, listen, if you came to my Twitter page and saw my mentions, it's all Cowboys fans telling me how much they hate me. So, like, that's why, because their fan base is the absolute biggest in the NFL.
You know, this is all starting to make sense because I pissed off all of Philadelphia during the Phoenix Open this year when I said, you know, I was glad it was a green out on Saturday, and I said I'm glad it's the WM green and not that disgusting Philadelphia Eagle green. And there's been this lady sending me hate tweets. I think your wife has been hate tweeting me for the last few months. Yeah, exactly.
She got a lot of burners.
Those Eagle fans are sensitive, man. I made a little football joke on a golf telecast. Whew.
Dude, I'll never. So first, my wife's a maniac. Like, we lived in Philly for like 2016, 17. We had to move to Connecticut because of work, all that stuff. And two of the things that she said when we moved here were like, one, we had to get DirecTV so she could get the Eagles games on Sundays. And then 2, my kids were not allowed to grow up New York sports fans. So I've got no issue with that, babe. Like, I don't have an allegiance or whatnot. We live close to Citi Field where the Mets play. I've got a son who plays baseball. He loves Pete Alonso. She gets legitimately pissed at me when I take him to Mets games because she's like, you're trying to make him a Mets fan. I'm like, no, I'm not. He's 11. I'm trying to just take him to a baseball game, you maniac.
That's so great.
Passionate wife. That's good.
Man.
Stay on that for a minute because we're talking about crazy fans. Part of the deal on First Take, like, and just all sports shows really, it's like, make a list. Top 5 this, top 5 that, quarterback, whatever it is. You know a bunch of these dudes, almost all of them, from playing in the league with them. Have you ever made a list and somebody saw it and got pissed at you who's like a player? Be like, really, dude? 5th?
All the time. All the time. All the time. I think I learned early on in this business, lists are supposed to be disagreed upon. Like, if you make a list and everyone's like, oh yeah, I kind of agree with that, it's boring, right? So, like, I am aware when I make lists of trying to make something that, like, is going to generate conversation, is going to generate disagreement. Like, that's part of that thing is making a list. Now, I'm not going to make a list that I don't think is accurate or I don't think that is something that I stand by. But yeah, I've had guys reach out to me and be like, what the heck is this all about? Or I've had agents text me. Agents are a big part of that too. Like agents text me all the time being like, what are you doing? You're driving value. And I'm like, you guys are way too emotionally attached to this. So there is a part of it though. Like I was reading something the other day with Kenny Smith and Shaq when they called for a coach to get fired and they said they would never do it again because they didn't understand their influence. Like I'm aware I'm on ESPN a ton. So like I try to be very conscious of that as well. But I've had guys reach out, agents reach out a bunch, but I have to do my job the best I can. So
Barkley always brings this up. Do they text you though when you praise them and tell them how great they are?
I know that's what I text back with.
Yeah.
You didn't. It's funny you're texting me now, but what about the last 6 months when I've said all great things as you've earned it? But I've said all great things. You were quiet then, so now one time I say something that's not glowing, you want to come and jump down my throat about it. So, but that's how I fire back for sure.
Which position is the most sensitive? Like if you do a wide receiver ranking, quarterback ranking, running back ranking, quarterbacks for sure. Right.
Quarterback by far, because we do live in this world. And part of the reason why I got into this business was I was trying to get people to understand, like, there's other great quarterbacks in the league than Tom Brady, other great coaches in the league than Bill Belichick. But we live in this world, and I call it, I blame Patrick Mahomes all the time. I talk to Patrick a bunch, mainly about golf, to be honest with you. But it's his fault because, like, if you're not Patrick or don't have a Patrick, you stink. And there's a lot of really good guys, player-wise, in the NFL at quarterback that they get measured against Patrick and they'll never measure up. And so they or their fan bases, they always feel second fiddle because he's such an incredible player.
I mean, in our world, golf, I mean, everything, when a kid comes out and wins 2 major championships early on, it's like, oh, here's the next Tiger Woods. I'm like, well, calm down. No, yeah. It's not. He's a really great player, but there's only one of those.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get there.
But you're always going to be compared to it. And you'll never catch it. You'll never. And I would imagine it messes with those guys as much as it does quarterbacks.
For sure.
Yeah, it needs like 2 separate categories, like Tiger stats, everyone else. Oh, he's made 30 cuts in a row. Cool. 100 plus more, and he could tie Tiger's career, consecutive record. Like, you're not even in the same stratosphere.
You mentioned it before we get to some golf. I want to ask, because you mentioned like your end goal. Like, what is it for you? Do you want to be a GM one day? Do you want to be a head coach, or do you love what you're doing right now?
Love what I'm doing right now. That question that gets asked a lot, and I always say, like, it's kind of a moving target, because I think the way we consume sports, mainly football, is ever changing. The way we talk about it is ever changing. There's so much access and information out there. So I always say it's a moving target. I've got 4 kids. I have a trippet 11-year-old boys and a 7-year-old daughter. And like, I really want to be a part of their life and be around a ton and watch them kind of grow and become the people that they are. And I know that there are some roles that challenge that. Coaching is one of them. Front office stuff is one of them. TV has its, kind of disadvantages with that as well. So I think like my ultimate goal is to be widely respected in what I do, and be valued. And where that kind of takes me right now, I'm kind of open to just following kind of how it goes on a day-to-day basis.
I got a question for you, because Colt and I, we're friends with some of your friends, right? Guys that have been career, mostly backup quarterbacks. And we always joke with them, like, that's the best gig on the planet. The fans love you. They always want the backup, right? You don't really take that many hits. You get paid a ton of money. Like, that's the best gig in the world. But be honest, are you having more fun now in your post-playing career than you did while you were playing?
Oh, yeah, because I'm better at this, though. I'm better at this than I was a player. Once you settle into that role, it's really cool, as a backup. I always said, like, you don't have any competitive release, though. You do all the work as everybody else, but you don't get to go out on Sundays and like kind of prove that work was worth it or whatnot. But I love doing this now just because, I think there's an aspect of taking immense pride and trying to find something that you could be really good at after you were really good at something. Like I tell my boys all the time, there's 8 billion people on planet Earth, and I was one of 1,500 somehow, some way. Very blessed to do that. And, again, now it's another opportunity to find a way to be really good at something and have that as a daily like challenge, so to speak. So, but yeah, I like this more just because I'm better at it.
That's and you're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, you do an awesome
personality
job.
You can't teach that. There are a lot of guys that know football. There's not a ton of, same with golf. A lot of guys know golf. There's not a lot of personalities. You're doing a good job bringing that.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I think the lock helped with that a little bit. So
Let's talk a little golf because you just got back from an awesome trip down to Streamsong.
yeah, dude, I love
How's the game? And I see you tweeting all the time about golf. I know you're dialed in. You're watching it on TV.
Yeah.
What is it about golf?
So golf's my favorite sport to watch on TV, honestly. Like, because I watch so much football and I've lived football. What is it about golf? So, I think what for me, like, what is it about golf is, again, I was somehow like part of this very small group on planet Earth that did something at the highest level. So I think, or I'm wired to think like everything should be that easy, and golf just isn't. Like, it just isn't. And I get so many people get frustrated when I stand over a 140-yard shot with a nine iron, and the green is the size of Rhode Island, and I push it 20 yards right, and I just like, how can I do that? Or like when you watch it on TV and I watch these dudes pull off these shots, I marvel at it. And I think the same way that people marvel at something that Patrick Mahomes does, because they can't comprehend it. Like, I've hit gajillion golf balls in my life. I can't comprehend Homa hitting the flagstick yesterday in the air on that par. My brain can't I can't wrap around that thought. So I love golf. I think it's my favorite time to hang. Like, if I'm not working and spending time with my family, I want to be hanging with the boys and playing golf. I love gambling on the golf course. That's the only place I gamble. So I think that like sunsets and golfing are probably my second favorite thing in the world, outside of sunsets at the beach with my family. So I love it. I love golf trips. Golf trips are my favorite thing to do outside of hanging out with my family by far. So I don't know what it is. It's a very peaceful feeling.
Let's stay on golf trips because you just got back from Streamsong. I know you go on a lot of them. Where are some of your favorite spots? Like, all right, fellas trip, golfing, here's where we should go. Give me the top couple. Make a list. Make it controversial.
Okay, so yeah.
Say somewhere stupid.
Favorite golf trip ever was northern Wisconsin. We did Whistling and Erin Hills. See, this is what happens when you tell the truth. I liked Erin Hills better. That's my favorite walk ever. Was we popped off Erin Hills. We did 36 there. We pegged in at like 3:30 in the afternoon. And so this was in June. So we were getting done right around like 7:45, 8 o'clock, summer sun, golden hour, played really good, walked 18, saw the plaque from Justin Thomas. And I just remember turning back around from the plaque and looking at the sun and being like, there's literally nothing better than this. So Erin is up there, or northern Wisconsin is up there for sure. This Streamsong trip I just went on was tremendous. Great group of guys. We had 2 foursomes. The weather was awesome. We had so much fun. It's the best I've ever played. Usually I play February, March golf. I suck because I'm coming off of 7 months and not picking up a golf club, but it was the best I played. And we didn't have like down at Streamsong, you can get hot real fast. We didn't have a day that was like break your back heat. There was a nice breeze. I think that the 3 golf courses are awesome. I don't love desert golf. We've done Scottsdale. I don't like being 3 yards off the fairway and trying to deal with rock or a cactus or a rattlesnake. Pinehurst. We did Pinehurst last summer, and I'm rambling, but I'll give you a quick little story. Have you guys been to Pinehurst? My assumption would be yes.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So we played number 2 that day, played pretty good. We get done at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We go grab a bite to eat, and then we were going to do the cradle, the par 3. And we teed off on the cradle, I want to say like 5 or 6 o'clock, playing barefoot, shirts untucked, music going, having a drink, just a great time, group of like 10 of us. And we get done and we're like, we got plenty of sunlight. Let's run it back. So we get to the first tee box and there's like this group of like 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, something like that. And they're like, hey, we just got done playing 2. We're tied. Can we play 1 hole and we'll get done? We were like, for sure. And we like, hang on, what'd you guys shoot? And one kid like disappointingly goes 76. And I'm like, what? And then another kid 73. And we're like, who's the best player? And they all point to one kid. And we're like, what did you shoot? He's like 70. And we're like, what tees did you guys play from? And they're like, the whites. Those were the tees that we played from. So I'm like, what the heck? So we watch these kids hit their first shots. And we're like, no, you don't look like us. So all these kids throw balls to like 5 or 6 feet. buddy, 5 or 6 feet. Long story short, we end up playing with them. We're like, we got to go play with you guys. We play all 9 holes till the dark with them. They're the number 1, 3, 7, and 10 ranked players in the world for like their age group, which I think is 13 or 14 years old. They live at Pinehurst.
Damn.
Home, they were unbelievable. And so like that was a super, super fun golf trip.
Makes you feel good about yourself.
That sounds better than the cab ride you took from Bandon.
Oh my, you know, oh, you don't, you
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's hear that.
yeah.
3-hour cab ride, is that all?
5-hour cab ride to
5-hour.
dude. It was what's the town in Medford, Oregon. You guys know Swanee and DA, so good buddies of mine live out there. Again, you got to come to Bandon in February. Weather will be fine. I'm an East Coast kid. February is like the worst, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I live in Tampa at this time. I fly to Houston, Texas to connect with my buddy who's going to go with us as well. We get to Portland. My clubs don't make it. It's snowing. It takes like 5 hours to get back from the airport, like 15 miles away. Clubs still don't make it. We finally get to Bandon. Clubs still aren't there. Wake up the next morning and we play, I think, like Pines or something. I borrow clubs from my buddy, Derek Anderson, who's a way better golfer than me. We play in like 40-mile-an-hour rain, 40 degrees and like crazy rain that morning. Get done in the afternoon. Weather flips. It's like 60-mile-an-hour winds. Get done playing, walking off the green. It's my wife. I'm in the hospital. My appendix ruptured. I came from Tampa, Florida. So I'm like, get out of here. Work throughout the night of like, how do I get home? How do I get home? I got to get home. Take like a 2:00 in the morning cab from Bandon to Medford, Oregon. Takes like 5 hours. Hop on a flight from Medford to San Francisco nonstop. So I got to Bandon for like 28 hours.
Wow.
You'd have been better off being in London. You could have got home way quicker from London. That place is so far off the grid. Let's stay on the quarterbacks. We play a ton of golf with DA. He's one of our closest friends, but there's some other guys too. And you were just talking about how it drives you crazy. Like I got to the elite in football. I feel like I should be able to do the same in golf. Quarterbacks specifically, typically sandbaggers or Hollywood handicappers.
Hollywood handicappers, too much money, too little muscle. Like they don't have, most quarterbacks don't have much muscle, so they can actually like rotate through a golf ball and swing and whatnot. And they're so good at quarterbacking, they don't need to be like that ridiculous at golf.
What's your go-to gambling game on the course?
I love hammer. As long
Yes.
like I got to be smart with some of the guys that I do play with, because I do play golf with some guys that just have an exponentially more amount of money than I do. So like playing $10 hammer for them is nothing, but for me, it could get very dangerous. So I love hammer. I love snake. We played snake at Streamsong Black and it got outrageous. I love Vegas as long as I'm not playing with guys that I know are going to be birdieing 6-7 holes.
Flipping it. Vegas gets nasty.
That game can get harsh.
Yeah. That could get, especially if you're playing on a course against a guy or a crew that they've got the game to get birdies, but also you can it's a course where you can blow up a hole or two and there's a ton of water or OB or whatnot. So I think hammer, just like if you play with the right people, I mean, you're just hammering left and right at each other.
I love it. That's great. Good list of games you got there. Who are some of your guys, like your favorites on the PGA Tour you root for right now?
I've become a massive Rory fan. Like I felt like I was always a Rory fan, but that's just the way he's handled like the last year or two. And I think his leadership and his personality and his character is shown. So love Rory. I love Homa. I remember watching like a Golf Channel piece on maybe like Homa coming out of qualifying school or something like that, or maybe rookie, like meet this rookie tour segment. So I've become a big fan of Homa. He roasted my golf swing on the internet, I think 2 or 3 years ago from Streamsong. I love Spieth. Those are some of the obvious ones. I'm trying to think of who else I might love. Tiger's my favorite athlete ever. I'll always love Tiger. I love Rahm just because his golf swing makes absolutely no sense to my brain. Scheffler, I got the chance to hang out a little bit with Scheffler and Sam Burns last year. Ricky did a piece, but I love Scheffler, just the unassuming greatness that he has. Has been really cool for golf. I think it's golf's got so much young talent.
There's a lot.
Do you remember what Max said on his swing roast?
Um, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, now I can see how you stepped out of the back of the end zone or something like that.
Yeah, it's like your lack of awareness of your feet. It all makes sense now, or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
We
yeah.
are striving to be the first show you've ever been a guest on to not bring up the safety. I feel like that would be.
That's gone.
maybe the
and you
first.
did it.
I brought it
Yeah,
up. That's
you
a
did it.
me thing.
No,
That's
he brought it up.
That's fair.
He brought it up.
That's
It's
but
not on me.
I tell you what, Max, he is witty, man. Like he
Super
pumps
fun.
out a lot of those things, but it's good. He's very knowledgeable of everything that goes on. He's a funny
and the
one. I
great
love
thing
it.
is he treats social media the way it should be. You know, like so
Yes,
many people take
exactly.
social media so like personal and direct, and Max just uses it as a platform to either laugh at himself or laugh at other or make others laugh. Like that's really what it should be for.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of people out there that feel like they know Max and never have met Max. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Just because he is out there and and he'll respond, and it's like, yeah, I know this guy when I watch him, even though
And he makes
never
it
laid eyes on him. Maybe
it makes it easy to root for him as well too. Like he's because social media, I feel like he's become so likable in many ways.
no doubt.
yeah, I think he might be the most likable guy.
Yeah, now his game backs
player
it
on
up.
earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that he's top 10 in the world.
All right, we'll put you on the spot because the Masters is coming up just a few weeks. I need a Masters champion and also next year's Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm going to be rooting for Tiger, but I won't pick him as my champion. I think picking Scheffler is cheating right now because of the way that his golf game is playing. I'll say Spieth. I think Spieth is having some moments of solid golf. And I just me being like the person who wants to watch intense golf on the weekend with everything. Like I'll pick Spieth. I'll be rooting for him. Super Bowl champion of next year. You can't say the Chiefs because it's boring and cheating and like do something else. So
Give us the matchup. I need both teams.
all right. So AFC.
stay in that same division though, maybe.
Shut up, Sleaze.
Right in that. You're right in the warm spot there.
Not going to be the Broncos. All right. So from the NFC, I'll take San Francisco. I think that one of those quarterbacks will play good enough, and they just signed Hargrave. So I think that's San Francisco in the NFC. And the AFC, I'll throw a flyer out there just because, again, I like to tick people off. Jacksonville.
Wow.
They're
Okay.
coming.
All right.
They're coming.
San
Super
Fran-
talented
They got Ridley
quarterback.
back now.
Ridley, if Ridley's
Yeah.
anything like what he was before suspension, I mean, their offense is going to be a problem. And Trevor taking a huge step forward in third year. They'll easily win that division if they stay healthy. Their defense is super talented as well. So I'll take
Oh,
Jacksonville just for fun.
Okay.
Little flyer.
I like it.
Perfect.
All right. Well, let's get to
If you
some.
hate those picks, tweet Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah. Bummer.
Tell him he's an idiot.
All right, let's get to our E9 segment here before we let you get out of here. I know you're a busy man. You got NFL Live to get to. But you've made it very clear on all your shows you're not the most adventurous eater out there. I mean, it's very boring, very plain, which is fine. I respect it. But we're just going to say Dan Orlovsky wins the Masters and gets to plan the champion's dinner.
Oh,
What is going to be on the menu? And if you say just grilled chicken, this show's over.
It's your dinner, Dan.
grilled chicken with
It's your
ketchup.
dinner.
My dinner. All right. Chicken parm. Chicken parm with penny noodles, very light sauce on it on both the noodles and the chicken parm, Caesar salad, and we'll go a warm brownie for dessert. Dark
Okay.
chocolate
Can't get too upset.
milk
Did you-
chocolate's atrocious.
Right before you said that, did you say grilled chicken with ketchup?
Yeah,
Are you a ketchup guy?
love ketchup, love it.
Dude, I love you. You're my hero.
Put on
That's right.
everything.
Eat like an
Ketchup.
8-year-old.
Ketchup
You know what
on
I-
everything.
8-year-old.
You know what I'll do at times? I'll take old spaghetti or noodles that my wife has made, put them in a frying pan, butter, like crisp them up, and just douse them with ketchup.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a
I've
new
heard
one.
people do that. That was like a college meal for a lot of when you had no money. Like, what's the cheapest thing I can put in my stomach? That was it.
100%.
That was it.
Still live that
Still
way.
works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still works. Timeless classic. All right, here we go. Of all your quarterback buddies who have signed massive deals, like you mentioned, which quarterback have you taken the highest percentage of their contract on the golf course?
Oh, Stafford. But Stafford's also gotten lucky with me at some money. But Stafford's got a golf game where, like, if he's on, he can get hot and play well. But if he's squirrely, it gets sideways real fast, especially if it's spinning, because he hits the ball dumb high and it spins a ton. And if the wind's going, you can get him. So he's gone on a couple golf trips. So I've been able to take probably him or Matt Schaub. Shabby lost a couple dollars down at Stream Song last week. So probably Stafford or Matt Schaub.
I like
It's
it.
good to have super rich friends signing massive deals with Hollywood handicaps, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the dream.
We
That is the dream.
Schaub, he lucked out. We played on black, we played snake like I was talking about, and it got to like the 11th or 12th hole. And the snake started at $5 and it got to like $800 real fast. And we were like, both groups said to each other, like, whoa. Like, this is going to get ridiculous. So we capped it at like $800 payout to each guy, but we kept track of it. And it was going to get, if we had kept going, he was going to have pay every guy like $5,300.
Ooh, that'd have been a good one.
That's
Painful. That's dumb. This wasn't a fun golf trip type of thing. So, but Shabby's paid me a lot of money.
rules are rules. They must be abided by.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Why every time that you, Derek Anderson, and Swanee have lunch together, do you always insist on picking up the tab, mostly after a round of golf?
Because freaking Swanee was a sandbagger for a long time. That's why. And so Swanee used to, well, and I'm hard-headed because like Swanee was a better golfer than me by far. And we would always play and he'd be like, Dano, how many strokes do you want? I'd be like, I'm not taking any of your fudging strokes, dude. Like I'm just going to beat you.
Dano.
Dano, never beat him. He was, and then Derek, I used to always joke with Derek. Well, Derek had an incredible football career. I used to be like, Derek, if you ever worked in football as hard as you do in golf, you'd be a Hall of Famer. Because like that dude, all he does is go work on his golf game. It's been that way for 20 years. And I'd be like, go throw some. He'd be like, I'm going to go hit some wedges. So it was mainly because I would lose it to them in golf.
I love that.
There is not a human being on earth, I feel confident saying this, that wants to be a +4 more than Derek Anderson.
And his swing
Period.
looks awful. He's got a dog trash swing.
He's got that little rodeo. We like to call it the little rodeo at the top. It gets up there and it waggles around and then it comes down.
But he hits it
When
so
he first
well.
retired, dude, he practiced more than the tour guys.
Yeah, when he was out at Whisper Rock all the time. Yeah, I'm just gonna go hit balls. I'm gonna get balls. Okay.
McCord would always say what he's got more planes than LaGuardia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Thing moves all around.
It's true. All right, there's a broadcast question for you. You're on the broadcast. Colt's on the broadcast. In order for Colt to take it to the next level, do you think he needs to utilize the fart noise a little more often, like you have done so well?
You got to find a way to cut through. You get taught in this industry.
Agreed.
How are you going to cut through? Well, quite literally. Yeah, you got to do something to stand out a little bit. You can't be ashamed of it.
The fart noise plays.
You want to
I
know?
liked it for the record.
the
A lot of
truth
questions around that, but I knew what was going on.
You know,
I don't know the true story.
All right, so this is truth. This
Yeah,
is
go.
the truth of what happened. So it's my first time ever doing Monday Night Football. You know, it's week 2 of the NFL. I've done games before, but this is Monday Night Football, and it was the first time I'm ever doing a game with this crew. Like when it comes to producer, director, host Steve Levy, Lewis Reddick, analyst, all that stuff. And so 5 minutes before, like we're going on air, they're like 5 minutes to tape, you know? And so we were coming on live television with a taped kind of opener, right? And I'm like, 5 minutes to tape. Like, what the fudge are we talking about? So like 3 minutes to tape, 2 minutes to tape. And I go like, hey, what do you guys like? 2 minutes to tape? What are we talking about? And Levy like made a joke out of it. He's like, yeah, 2 minutes to tape, Dan. It's a thing that Josh and I. So I thought we were taping the open. And so I'm speaking and I messed up speaking. And so in the middle of me like misspeaking, I go, and all of a sudden my producer in my ear goes, you're on live television. And Levy looked at me. He's like, keep going. And I was like, oh gosh, so I should have been aware we were on live TV and it's definitely my mistake, but I thought we were taping something. So that's why I was like, and right when I did it, I was like, that one's not going to go over too well.
Everyone thought you farted, like you coughed and or sneezed and farted. I was like, no, dude, he just was like, he couldn't get his words out. But everyone ran with the fart conspiracy. It was beautiful.
It was tremendous.
No such thing as bad pub, dude.
By the way, though, when 5 minutes to tape, I would have been the same thing. Like, oh yeah, we're just gonna tape this thing.
That's what I thought. Because I've taped opens before. Or you rehearse them multiple times. So I 100% thought we were taping. And right when it happened, I went to my phone right away and had like 30 text messages. And I was like, oh man, this is going to become a thing.
Yeah. We did one at Pebble Beach a few weeks ago. We had some time to kill, and I thought we were going to tape it and then insert it.
Yeah.
And we did it, and like I nailed it. It was great. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, that was a good rehearsal. And I'm like, Whoa, I got to do that again on
Yeah,
live TV.
yeah.
No. Let's just put that one in there. It works out perfect.
And I hate tape things. Like I hate tape. Like if I sometimes like Sports Center will ask me to tape a touchscreen, it'll take me 27 takes. Where when it's I don't know what it is with me, but like when it's live, I very rarely like have some type of mess up or whatnot. Taping all the time.
That's a good thing.
You lock in
Yeah.
when the lights are on.
All right, number 7. Who yells at you more, Stephen A. or your wife?
Oof. Stephen A. Stephen A. yells at me more about stuff that has to do with my wife than my wife does. You know, like
Perfect.
Stephen A. yells at me for being cheap with my wife or not flying her in first class or whatnot. My wife never complains about that. My wife like completely understands it. So I'm fortunate. I don't have a wife that yells at me much. She gives me some looks, but she doesn't yell at me much. But Stephen A. yells at me a lot. Stephen A. will text me in all capitals, meaning yelling at me about something.
That's great. Well, hold on. Let me just go to my next one because it goes right into that, and then you can have the last one.
Yeah.
Because he does give you a hard time about being cheap. You know, Max Homa has been very vocal about, like, he won't buy Fiji water. He won't buy Wi-Fi on the airplane because it's ridiculous. Victor Hovland came out and said he doesn't do guac at Chipotle because he shouldn't have to pay for it. What's the one thing you refused to pay for? Or at least, like, maybe indulge in?
Yeah, a lot, to be honest with you. Like, but one thing, like fancy shoes or clothes or luggage. I say this to like my friends and my wife all the time. Do we comprehend that the fundamental reason why shoes were invented was to keep dirt off of our feet? And the reason why luggage was invented was to keep dirt off of our stuff. So why am I going to spend a lot of money on something that is going to get disgustingly dirty? So like when my wife is like, you need new shoes, I'm like, $80 to $100. Like just find a pair of shoes that are $80 to $100. Same with luggage. She's like, we need new luggage. I'm like, no, we don't. Does it open and close? It's little. You do watch the people at the airplanes. They take our stuff and go, why am I
That's a great point.
dollars on that stuff? So I'm a very simple man. Like I'm not into cars. I'm not into clothes. I'm not into watches. I say it all the time. The only things that I'm okay spending money on are like, obviously like time with my family, red wine, and golf trips. Those are the only things that I'm like, whatever it costs, I'm good with.
I love
That's
it.
really all you need.
I'm at the airport and I see these Louis suitcases. I'm like, why?
Yeah, dude.
I don't get it.
It's all just ego. They literally body slam your bags onto the conveyor belt. It's like WWE. I'm like, you're spending $2,000, whatever, $4,000. I don't know how much shit costs, but like
next time you're at an airport, watch this. You go into the men's bathroom. They're gonna bring those $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 bags in and put it next to a urinal and go to the bathroom. You sitting the floor next to the urinal, bro?
it's like a river runs through it in there. I'm like, how does this happen?
I'm like, what are we doing? Do you know how gross that is? But by the way, here's $4,000. So give me like whatever $60 bag I can get.
All right, this next one actually kind of speaks to this theme here that we might have. In your opinion, how well does a big screen TV survive an outdoor Detroit winter?
I've experienced it. Pretty good. I've had a big screen television outside for a while now, and I've lived in cold weather climates, so they've survived. Don't spend money on the outdoor television. Just go buy a television once every couple of years.
I was told that you had a big boy in an apartment that you were sharing with Swanee, and the season ended, your lease ends, and you're going to park your I think it was an Avalanche at the facility. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah.
And you had some questionable decision making regarding the television.
Well, it goes back to being cheap. I didn't want to pay for the apartment when during the time of the off season I wasn't there. I wasn't going to pay to ship the stuff, but I could park my car at the facility for free. So I took my television and I put it in the truck, my Avalanche, and left it in there for 2 or 3 months when I wasn't there, and I came back and it didn't work. That is a fair point, Swanee.
Put a blanket over it. It's like parking in Antarctica.
Cheaper to ship all this stuff though. To buy a new $300 and $400 television was cheaper. So
valid
financial decision.
Valid.
Well, Dan, man, we appreciate it. That was so much fun. Keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it. Huge fan. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
I appreciate you guys. It was a lot of fun. I hope to connect sometime in real life on a golf course or something.
Love to. Anytime.
You got it. Thanks, Dio.
Appreciate you, boys.
All right, well, that was Dan Orlovsky joining us on Subpar. Love it. Sitting right there in the ESPN studios. Had Schefter down there to the right.
On his phone.
As he said, shockingly, on his phone. Sending out a million tweets. But what a great dude, man. I've never got to meet him in person. Actually met on Twitter, where all great relationships start, and was nice enough to come on and join us. That trip to Streamsong. He sent me the video. He told me about this night putting contest. I've never been there. I just thought there might be a putting green with some lights outside. No, they were actually in the lobby of the hotel. The putt got up to over $3,000. One man made it. The other man had to make the same putt. This is like 30 feet through the lobby before it gets to the actual putting
the mat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff has to go right. Guy stepped up and topped him. Counted it to push the bet.
Zach Johnson, get that guy's info. Not afraid of the big stage.
But love sitting. My favorite part was my wife's a maniac when talking about Philly fans. I told him about the disgusting Eagles green that didn't go over too well with some of the people in this world. But I'm glad that he agrees. All Eagles fans are maniacs.
They're a little different. They're built different. They hate Santa Claus. They pretty much hate everything. They hate their team when they're good. They hate them more when they're bad.
How about his Super Bowl prediction? Jags 49ers.
Jags are going to be a trendy, I feel like, hot pick coming in. The way they finished that season, their division, all that stuff. They're going to be, I think they're going to be a trendy little pick come football season.
Let's pay attention to his Masters pick because it's just a week away. He's going with the golden child, Jordan Spieth.
Hard to knock that too. Easter Sunday and Jordan Spieth go together like the Easter Bunny. You know what I mean? And yeah, like we were talking about, I like getting into the first take stuff. Like, no, it's not state. Because sometimes I'm like, dude, they go on before air. And like, you take this side, I'll take this side. I don't care if you believe it or not. Just argue it and we'll have a debate or whatever. Apparently, not the case. But they do say some wild shit on that show. I always was like, dude, that's got to be staged. And he makes fart noises during the NFL broadcast.
Yeah.
It's like I said, dude, mix that into the golf sometimes. Oh, guy.
You want me to throw that out
Guy
there?
chunks a little chip. Lucas Herbert chips it from the water into the water, just out of the water into the water. And Lucas Herbert over here with this third. And it's in the drink. That'd be nice.
Okay, I'll take your advice. I'll write that down.
Use that, dude.
All right, well, let's get to some picks. We're not quite to Masters week yet. Like I said, 1 week away. We got the Valero Texas Open. Last chance for someone who's not qualified to book their ticket to Augusta National. By the way, you just booked yours recently. Good job. Proud of you.
I'm official. I will be
I'm so
there.
proud of you.
Flights were still available. It got done as expected. Time to spare. I feel like I got out in front of that pretty early.
All right, well, pretty decent field heading to San Antonio. Everybody obviously wants to get into the Masters this year. Last week, I don't even count last week because that's pretty much impossible just to pick. I took Jason Day. He made it out of his group, but I mean, it's impossible. We're just going to watch that week.
I've picked nothing right in March. March needs to end. I am getting destroyed in everything. I officially have no teams in the Final Four, and I've lost virtually every bet I've made.
I think 99
responsibly, I've lost it.
99.9% of America or the world, whoever does all the brackets, doesn't have a team left in the Final Four.
Yeah. Responsibly, I'm going to have to foreclose on my house.
So for my favorite this week, I'm going to go with a guy who's trending in a very nice direction. Upset John Rahm last week in the first match right out of the gate. He's got to win to get in. Fell just short of getting that top 50 invite. Ricky Fowler going off at 20-1. Here we go. Come on, Rick.
Thought he had it after that opening win against Rahm. I was like, that's it. You control everything. He's going to get out of that. And that was just, weird shit happens in match play.
The swing looks good. I know he's extremely motivated right now. He's had his chance to win Augusta a couple times. He's played well there. I know it would mean a lot to him. Come on, Rick. Bring it home for me.
He's fractions away from being there. All right, I'm going a little further down the board. I feel like this one's a hard one to handicap. Guys that are already in the Masters feel like they kind of use it as prep week, maybe hit some shots they wouldn't hit, things like that. Then you got the guys that are not in there. With that being said, go with the guy. Hadn't played a ton this year, but I thought what he did last week was impressive. Made it out of his pool in a tough pool. He's a low ball hitter, good in the wind. He's a guy that typically not going to beat himself. Maybe doesn't have the firepower, but I think on a hard golf course like they're going to see this week with the wind probably up, I like his odds to at least top 10. I'm going to go with Matt Kuchar, 28-1.
Okay. Cooch playing some better golf. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to have a feeling you don't know a whole lot about my dark horse.
Tell me about how dark.
He's 44-1.
Okay.
But he's 29th in the FedEx Cup. 3 top 10s on the season. Mm-hmm. I think it's very important to drive the ball well at TPC San Antonio. There's a lot of trouble around there, and it's not penalty areas. It's shit.
Rocks, break your arm.
Saw Kevin Na make
made
112.
They didn't even know what he made.
All right. He's 27th in total driving so far this year on the PGA Tour.
Okay.
He's from Belgium. Thomas Dietrich, 44-1.
The Dietrich dish.
You got that?
Yeah, he's starting to show up.
The Dietrich dish. That's good.
You like that? Yeah, throw that out on the mix as well. All right, I'm going to go with another guy then down the list that a lot of people probably don't know a whole lot about. I would say it's safe to say. Coming off a runner-up in the Dominican, had a putt to go to a playoff on the final hole against Matt Wallace. Nikolai Højgaard going off at 55-1. Playing mostly on the DP World Tour. He's got 3 top 15s over there this year. He's only 22 years old. He's got a lot of upside, short, compact swing if you see it, but still generates a lot of power. Just played really well in the wind out there in Dominican. I assume they're going to see some heavy winds this week down there in Texas as well. A little different ball game, but I'll just ride hot hands. Give me Nikolai Højgaard.
All right, that's what you do. This will be, I believe, his 9th PGA Tour start.
Yeah, he doesn't play a ton, but he's played pretty well over in Europe, and he's a guy going forward, Ryder Cup type guy. He's good, talented kid.
All right, well, it's time to drive for show and pet for dough this golf season on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets to tee off the PGA Tour season. We got our top 20 bets, top 10s, parlays, some matchups, whatever you want. We already gave you our favorites, our dark horses. But if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's always hooking you up with great odds, and when you win,
instantly.
So step up to the tee and take a swing at betting the PGA Tour. Go to FanDuel.com/subpar and sign up. That's FanDuel.com/subpar to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets. FanDuel, official betting operator of the PGA Tour. Must be 21 years and older in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, or mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland, 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming, or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia.
All right, well done. Still got a little that member guest left
bit
up in you. You know what I mean? All right, by next time we come on, there'll be an NCAA
Oh,
champion.
yeah.
It's whittled down to 4 now, so maybe we can actually pick something. Who you got? UConn, the betting favorite. They are beating
I think everyone's going to take UConn.
everyone's head in right now. Exactly. Who you like?
So therefore, since everyone's probably going to go with them, growing up, I was a diehard Texas Longhorn fan.
Yeah.
They absolutely puked that game off against Miami. But Miami, there's just something about that team. They got a lot of swag. I like their action. I'm going the Hurricanes.
And they shoot free throws like crazy. They're good. That's my pick as well. I kind of want
God.
Florida Atlantic because it'd be a hell of a story that no one's ever heard of them, and here they come, first Final Four ever. But I'd probably go with Miami on the betting odds. Everyone's going to have UConn. I don't want to do that.
And also, it's the end of an era at the Final Four. This will be the last one for the great Jim Nantz. Do it in his home city of Houston. A lot of special things going to be happening. His former home city, I should say. Doing a lot of special things for him that week, but hats off, tremendous career. I'm going to be sad to see you go from the Final Four.
Whoever gets that tie, hold on to it.
All right. Everyone have a great week. We'll talk to you on next week's Golf Subpar.